Can they be grown in small spaces? Maybe even an apartment balcony? Can they be grown inside? One of the more important things about indoor container vegetable gardening is your sprouts are going to need sunshine. You can assume that the ambient warmth is probably going to be enough, unless you would like to sleep in an igloo. But 68 degrees on the inside, that's a really good temperature. So finding and locating good sun locations. If you live in a place that has southern exposure to the windows, that's going to be perfect. I have a few, I got a couple more west facing, I think. But I've got the ones that I've started. I've got a place in mind down here on the first floor. Cats aren't going to be happy about this, but I'm going to be commandeering one of their sentry positions. This window, I think it's west, northwest maybe, but it gets a lot of it doesn't get a lot of sun, but it gets a lot of light. It gets plenty of light during the day. So let's talk about what containers you can use for your indoor vegetable garden container. I've already brought up that I like spinach, and I thought I had a lot more than this. $6 is what a container of spinach costs, but yeah, save these, poke holes. Solo cups work just fine. I mean, you're not going to have an enormous thing, but you can have a really decent size, thing of cilantro. Definitely herbs. A little space. Drainage. Sometimes if you go to discount stores, these plastic, or maybe you have a bunch that you're not going to use. These little containers, again, these are fairly deep. Really good for herbs. The two rock method for a little bit of drainage. Food containers. This is really nice and deep. This is, again, that's 5 inches deep, so you can have a few things in there, and it's pretty nice and small. So as shown before, I like spinach. I like to make spinach salads, and I found that it's a really good idea to save these guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first one, layer some rocks, and then the second one, I'm going to perforate some holes in it so it'll have some drainage, and so they'll be like this. This will be one growing container right here. That's a pretty good size. It's like what, 4 inches deep, so that's really good for a lot of things that we'll be doing in small containers. You may be asking, how are we going to put holes in the plastic? Well, one of my favorite tools is a corn cob. Now, you could do this the cold method. However, because I'm weird that way, I found that if you heat your probe, heat your little poker, it'll go in like a knife through butter. Do that a few times. So if you ever go to like a bargain grocery store, a lot of times look what kind of seeds you should get. First of all, get the kind of seeds, get the kind of vegetables that you like and that you want. Clearly, if you don't like tomatoes, don't plant tomatoes. If you don't like kale, don't bother with kale. Also, think about what is expensive at the store to buy. Herbs are probably some of the most expensive things in the grocery stores per pound by weight. Dillweed grows like anything easily. Oregano. These are really easy to grow herbs. This is, I don't know how much this was, $6. That's probably from like one plant. You can buy some seeds for $3. Grow them and you could sell it. Another factor to take into account is what what goes bad really fast. I really like cilantro, but within about 4 days, if you haven't eaten and used it all up in 4 days, it kind of turns into a sticky, gummy mess, and you have to throw it away. Same thing with green onions. I have green onions going up constantly now, and so whenever you get a salad, just go over there, snip a few little things off, and cut them into your salad, and it's great. And they will just continue to keep on. They will just keep on coming up. I'm growing radishes because I really like having radishes. I always kind of tend to forget them at the store, but fresh radish, are you kidding me? Oh. So here's some herbs that I'm going to plant. Very more organic chives, and note that a number of these are going to already be marked for container variety. So that's pretty cool. Kale, red Russian kale, basil. Basil's good. Spinach, space hybrid. I hope that means limited. Hope that means limited space and not outer space. And then this is a smaller brand, Stover seed from California. These are cherry bell radishes, and they're available. They're widely available in by many makers, and I've confirmed that they are good for small container gardening, so that'll be good. Last but not least, I've got some cilantro, also by the Stover company. I like to, before I put in the seeds, I like to kind of get my soil moistened first, give it a little even wetting. And also, you might have to do this anyway, because sometimes the soil you get doesn't exactly, there's another kind of soil I get that it doesn't absorb the water so well, and unless you actually physically come and mix it around. This doesn't. This takes and absorbs the water pretty well. Yeah, nothing yet. But anyway, so I have that moistened and nice, and now I'm just going to pick what flavor of herb I want to plant in here. Okay, I'm going to go with cilantro. I love cilantro. Love to have it around. So I'm going to start this with that. Start with, let's see, I think I'm going to do like a little, just more like 1/4 inch, but I'll do something like this, using the best free tool known to mankind. I'm going to drop in, no, there's 4. I like to put in 3 seeds per spot. 1 might be a dud, and then 2 can fight it out. So we're just concealing it really. I remember there's a rule of thumb that however thick the seed is, you essentially put it in twice that amount of soil. And these are about 1/8 of an inch, so we're covering it with 1/4 of an inch. And that's a clod, that's not soil. Just concealing from, well, really aren't any natural predators. Not until they grow and we eat them. Yeah, okay. I'm going to mark this with cilantro, and then I'll be happy. Welcome to day 2. This is I just prepared this container for spinach, and I've got the soil moistened and loaded in there. The seeds that I have, burpee spinach space hybrid, space saving and not outer space, I'm assuming. It says it's container friendly, and it can have 7 plants per 12-inch container. We're sowing these seeds to a depth of 1/2 inch. We've got that down. And it's going to take 35 to 40 days for our harvest. It's also saying full sun for 6 hours. So I'm going to have to probably put these in a better place than the cat sentry post, place that gets more sun. That seeds are a lot like people, in that some will only work in perfect conditions. Some are just duds and won't do anything at all, no matter what you talk to them about. whatever you do. Some are just great and you can depend on, and some will just surprise you. Go, spinach! Okay, now I've got my planting container pulverized and aerated, as you can see, with all of my beautiful corn, heated corn cob hold. This is going to be the supporting, this is going to be like essentially the drain catcher. And this came to me in a dream. What you want to do is you want to get yourself a bunch of rocks. When I was in the military, when I was in the Air Force, I was an SP, and before you earned your weapons certification, you couldn't be armed. So you know what you were armed with? You were armed with a BFR. You're going to need. You just want it off the surface and give the excess water a little bit of room. So like that. This is going to be a really good set. So I'm using this. I've liked this. This is a seed starting potting mix from Miracle-Gro. I've used this for a number of years, and I've really liked the performance of it. It's very light. It's not very expensive. I think this was $5 for, what was it, 4 quarts, 8 quarts, 8 quarts. Let's see. Yeah, this is we're gonna get a thing with these spinaches. The spinach containers is that they're relatively deep, and you're gonna need quite a bit of soil to begin your farm empire. There are a number of things that you can grow, things you might already have in your refrigerator right now. Green onions, for example, are excellent things to regrow. And I've done this many times and been really successful. They turn out great. Save about an inch. You'll have those nice little, here we are. Those nice roots we have under there. Put those just underneath the soil. Use one of the best original tools that have ever been made, a finger. Scratch your nose if you have to. So we've got that in there. And within a few days, these are going to be sprouting. They're going to be growing. So I read this is a really good thing to do is get some water. When you get your water, put it in your container. Get some before you're going to use it, and then leave it out. What this will do is, first of all, it will bring the water up to temperature. It'll bring it up to ambient temperature that your plants are in. So that'll be good. They won't shock them. And also, it'll also give the water some time to evaporate, especially if you have hard water. It'll give it some time to evaporate some of those things that probably shouldn't be in water. Anyway, so we'll do that. So I just put the green onion feet, sprout ends. I don't know what did you call them. The base, we'll say that. The green onion base into my little soil mixture here. Got another one here. Okay. And yeah. First up, some more cilantro. I don't know if I talked about this, but these little white spots, little white things in the potting soil, this is probably perlite. And perlite is good because it kind of lightens the soil and it makes it a little bit easier. It kind of aerates the soil so that the roots need air, and so it kind of lightens and makes it a little bit easier for the roots to grow. I would probably like to add maybe a little bit more perlite. And there's also a very similar product called Vermiculite. Vermiculite looks a lot like this, but Vermiculite actually holds moisture. It retains moisture and kind of lets it out over time. So they kind of do different things for what you need them. Nicer containers like this, if you ever go to like a home store, a big box store, these aren't cheap. These are like at least $10. I've purchased quite a few through like Facebook Marketplace, places like that, and people will sell like a bunch of them. You know, you can get them. I think I paid maybe $5, $4 for this. For the chives, Oh, remember, double cut method with a rock at the bottom to help provide for drainage. And yes, drainage holes have been poked with my superheated corn cob holder. Moisten the sole. Depth to 1/4 inch. So we're going to be using the concealment method. They get 8 to 12 inches high. Days to germinate 15 to 21 days. Harvest 80 days. Geez, that's practically next year. Yeah, these are little guys, aren't they? Yeah, these are little seeds. Much. It's very light. Good. Alrighty, basil. I've had pretty good luck growing them outside. I can remember, and harvesting basil is like a little bit of an art in itself. You can continuously harvest basil, so you get just a continuous stream of leaves for eating. 5 to 10 days to germinate. Again, depth of 1/4 inch, spacing 10 inches, height. Oh, height 20 to 24 inches. Okay, so we're probably not going to use. I'm not going to use a heck of a lot of these. I'm going to use a heck of a lot of these seeds because I think 1 or 2 plants are going to pretty much take over this little environment. Again, these look a lot like chives. A lot like chive seeds. Very little. So I think that's all that I wanted to cover this video. We got started. We got a lot of great things started in our indoor container vegetable containers. Things I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the next video. Kind of some advanced, well, not advanced, later concerns, we'll say. We'll talk about getting a thermometer, a probe thermometer. Those are really cheap. We'll talk about fertilizing, pest control, and air circulation. But the next video, we're going to cover those issues and we'll show an update on how these guys are doing. So I've got some other videos, microgreens. If you're really interested in growing vegetables, microgreens cannot be beat. So I've got I've got a series on growing microgreens inside, a couple of different methods you can do that, and how delicious those are. I really appreciate you spending the time to watch my videos and to listen to Farmer Don try to grow some vittles. It's pretty fun doing this, and I'm really looking forward to the progress. Please leave a comment at the bottom if you have any questions. I just think that growing things from seed is the best thing ever. It's the greatest hobby. I even wear it on my clothing. Seeded garden. There's just something about starting things from seed and how nourishment and sustenance comes from a speck, and everything on earth all comes from what happens with these little specks and sunshine and water and air. Well, when I was a kid, I didn't think I was going to grow up to be a farmer. But now that I am, that's perfectly fine.